Hey, it's Chad House here. I've got one piece of advice for you today, and that is to stop asking for advice. Now in this video, we're going to go over why you shouldn't ask for advice. That doesn't mean you don't bounce ideas off people. That doesn't mean on occasion you ask for advice, but most guys, most people in general are in the habit of asking for far too much advice, and what it leads to is a bad decision. It leads to a lack of accountability and responsibility on your part. It weakens you, and you end up living your life by other people's perspectives and them sending you down the path that you were too afraid to go down on your own. So as a man, you got to make your own decisions. So get in the habit of making your own decisions. So what's the problem with seeking advice? Everyone says you should ask for advice, you should seek advice, you should seek counsel and all this stuff. The problem is that it increases the variables and it increases the complexity of the decision. So when you're coming to, or when you have to make a decision, and the two best examples are usually business and in relationships, because that's where we tend to ask for a lot of advice. And in business, I count investing and so forth. So what it does is it increases the complexity of the decision. What you want is to be able to make a decision with the least amount of variables. You want the clearest, simplest amount of decisions to make within that decision, or you want the least amount of variables. But when you ask for advice, what you have is a person that has no skin in the game. They are not responsible for the outcome of the advice that they give you. They have no downside, they have no upside. Well, they have only upside because you're gonna thank them if it's the right decision, but they have no downside. They don't care any weight, they don't care any skin in the game for the advice that they're gonna give you, and that is the most important thing. Don't ask for advice from people that have no skin in the game. If it's a business partner, that's a little different, because if your decision loses money, then they lose money as well. Number two is their history. We all make decisions based on our past experiences, whether that's good or bad. Even in relationships, one relationship cannot influence the next relationship because you're different. You're a different person than you were in the previous relationship. The person you're dating now is a different person than you had in the previous relationship. So you can't let even previous relationships dictate the decisions you make in current relationships. They can give you some guidance, but the past doesn't always lead to an answer in the future. So when you add another person's history into that decision-making process, you just complicate things with their own history, their own influence, and it clouds the truth and the reality of the situation. So again, we're trying to make the best decision. Life is simply a series of making the best decisions. Should I do this? Should I do that? And then the more decisions you make off and followed by action, the better your life's going to be, the more successful you're going to be, and so forth. So asking someone just complicates things. Second of all, you influence them with what you tell them. So let's use the example of a relationship. So you've got this girl who's a bit of a hothead. You know you should probably break up with her because you could see the future is just walking around on eggshells, not knowing what's going to set her off. And she might be a cutie. She might have a lot of the boxes checked, but you know you're going to be miserable. That said, you want either your pal to make a decision for you on the positive or on staying with her or on breaking up with her. Deep down, you influence the picture you paint for them so as to make your life easier. Maybe it's easier in the moment not to break up with her, so you kind of cloud how much of a nut job she actually is. And so you highlight her positive things. Maybe you take responsibility for things you shouldn't take responsibility for, her losing her shit or whatever. Not only is their judgment clouded by what you're telling them, subconsciously often you're trying to paint a picture to them to make your life easier. You're not doing this on purpose all the time. Their view of the situation is clouded. In business, the same thing happens. Their view of the situation is clouded. It's clouded by the story you're telling them. It's clouded by their past history. And it's clouded by the fact that they really don't have any skin in the game. So the decision doesn't impact them at all. What can you do? For one, be your own man. Make your own damn decisions and get in the habit of making fast decisions. You want to be a guy who lives life on his own terms, who makes his own decisions, and they aren't clouded by fear. They aren't clouded by insecurity. They are purely based on the facts he has and making the absolute best decision based on the future you want to have. Back to the dating scenario. The girl is a hothead. She flips out, she does this, that, and everything else. That is going to lead to problems down the road. Have the guts to make a decision in the present. Of course, there's other things that can go on that maybe you're the problem. Maybe you got to change, but be true about what's actually going on. And then second of all, you can study wisdom. So study rationality, study game theory, study decision making, study history, study stoicism, study all these different things that will make you a wiser individual and a better decision maker. Business is just about making decisions. This can come down to, should I do this work or that work? Should I do the work or should I take a day off? Do the work. It's just a sequence of decisions, but going to people and constantly asking for advice is typically the wrong thing to do. Be your own man. Live a life of purposeful assertiveness. Get after it. Don't get caught on the sidelines, and don't let other people dictate your life for you. So I've got more in the article down below. Click the link down below. Definitely subscribe to this page. And any questions on what you want covered, and we'll cover it in this video series. Again, stop asking for advice. Read, research, take information in, but make your own damn decisions. Take care.